Okay, so now we're going to do the stock, which is steps 14, 15 and 16. So we're going to start with step 14, which are the two main components, and then add the detail. So we need page 4 again. So this has got the two large stock detail pieces. So again, we'll remove those carefully. So again, always trying to push gently from the printed side to the non-printed side. So you remove both pieces. Okay, I'm also just going to remove that piece of the barrel that we'll come back to later, so that I can discard the rest of the paper. So with these two pieces, the first thing we need to do is to again remove all of the excess paper that's been kind of partly cut out. So just again push through from the coloured or the printed to the non-printed side. So there's about 9 pieces on each side, or 9 holes on each side that need to be made. So you push those through, and again from the other side, just try and twist them off. Don't pull, because again you'll be risking tearing the card, but just kind of twist them off. And those can all be discarded. We don't need those unless you want to get creative and stick them on various parts of your plaster, which of course you could do. So I'll just twist those last pieces off. Okay, so now what we want to do is again kind of roll this piece kind of into a bit of a tube. Just be careful where the holes are, because there's not a great deal of card left, so we just have to be a bit more gentle with it. But again, you want to kind of fold all of those score marks around to make a sort of a basic tube shape. So going across the back, kind of taking each score line and just folding that gently until you've built your sort of, as I said, your kind of tube out of that shape. Okay. So once you've done that, we can move on to the next piece. So that's the sort of stocks. Again, there's 2 little holes that just need to be popped out. Oops. Again, we can discard those papers. So the first score line, that needs to be folded backwards on itself. Okay, so those are the 2 bits of the stock that will glue together. And again, the little flaps need to be folded backwards as well. That's where you're going to glue on the detail. Okay, so now you've got those bits folded backwards. Again, the centre piece can be sort of folded into a tube. So just go through line by line, bending those score marks. Okay, so once you've got all of those done, just each one at a time, just bend the score line. Okay, so you now got that tube with the piece at the bottom that can glue together. Okay, so now I'll put these two bits together. So what's important is one end is short, one end is long. The long end goes towards the back. Okay, so you want the back of those pieces to line up. Okay, so you can pop the flaps through the holes. So there's 2 slots and 2 holes. So you'll pop those flaps through the two slots and through the 2 holes on the other side. So that's now in place. So now we want to glue those 4 flaps down onto the non-printed side. Okay, so we're just going to apply a little dollop of super glue to each flap. Okay. Okay, so now that super glue is on, you can just hold those down. And same on the other side, so all 4 flaps are secure in place and glued to the underside of the stock. Okay, so now we've got the stock shape kind of in place. We now need to attach it to the base. So that's kind of how it's going to go. So you're going to glue those bottom 2 flaps together. So take your base, best leave it on the side, because if you turn it on its head you might damage the sight. So first of all, get it the right way around. Got it curved around the stock, ample super glue on that flap. What you want to make sure is you line up the kind of edges on both sides. So that's where you want them to align. Okay, so if you gently pull the edges together, It's a bit hard to do it at this angle of the camera, but I'll do it sideways. So you want to get those the rounded corner aligned. There you go. And then just press those two together and hold those in place and bend those flaps back where you'll put on the main the stock detail a bit later. Okay, so hold that for a few seconds and that should dry. Again, be careful if you turn it on its head because you don't want to damage the iron sight. Again, if you're going to put a book under the handle or something you can raise it up a little bit, then that's better because the iron sight can bend quite easily. Okay, so now we've got the stock detail, which is step 15. And we'll need the 3 pieces that are left on page 2. So we'll just grab that. So page 2, there's 2 pieces that look very similar and 1 larger piece, so we'll just get those out. Okay. Alright, so again we can use our headphone trick just to get rid of the screw holes that I need there. Oh, that one's already fallen out, so we'll just get rid of that one. Okay, so those are sort of left and right. And then this is the other piece of stock detail. There's 2 little triangles of paper that you just need to get out of the corners there. And again with this piece it's important to kind of make the shape that you want it to make, so the little kind of cradle shape. So build that. Again, and that'll help you able to stick it up. So fold those glue tabs back, fold the walls in, and then fold the flap at the back in, and that's the kind of shape that you want to make. Be careful that the flaps at the front, they want to go inside the cradle, not on the outside. Okay. So basically what we need to do is just to apply some glue along the side there, those 4 glue tabs. And then fold those 2 sides in. So make sure that those tabs go inside. So fold the 2 tabs in and fold that front bit inside. So now you've done one side. Just hold that for a couple of seconds. And the same on the other side. So make sure that front flap goes inside and the 2 side flaps can glue down. So it's pretty straightforward, I think, to put that together. Okay, front flaps are inside, which is where they should be. Don't really need to be glued, they kind of stay there. And then the back flap, just a couple of spots of glue, and fold that back flap in to keep it in place. Okay, and there's the main kind of stock cradle that's going to go on in a second. Okay, so make sure that's nice and dry. Okay, now we've got the rear stock detail left and right to go on. So again, just make the shape. So you want to fold the screw hole around at kind of 90 degrees, and then the flap sort of folds in on itself and it glues together just like that. Okay, so a little dob of glue on the kind of triangular flap. Hold the face down and hold that together. Again, a clip here is quite handy because it kind of gets inside there. But fingers always work too. Okay, so that's kind of the left side done. Same on the other side. Make the shape. So fold the screw side to 90 degrees. Fold the glue flap around on itself. And again, just a little bit of glue inside there, and we can hold that together. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got left and right. Those are both ready to go on. And the main cradle is also dry. So now we need to put those onto the main stock, which is step 16. Now we need the main model again. So these 2 pieces, as you can see, left and right. This flat piece goes towards the top. So put the screw through to hold those 2 in place, and then just loosely screw the screw through the hole in the stock, just to hold them in place while you glue them. Okay, you don't need to glue it tight right now because it'll prevent you moving these around and gluing them. Okay, so we take one side, put a little bit of glue on the side there, and fold that around so you can hold the outside of the detail part and just hold the stock detail for a few seconds, and those will glue together nicely. Okay, then I'm going to flip the model around and do the same on the other side. So a little bit of glue on that tab, and then fold that around into the stock, and again just hold that in place while the glue dries. Okay, so you want to make sure those two sides are kind of flush with one another and make one kind of one edge. You don't want one sticking out above the other. Okay, just give those a few seconds to dry, and while they're drying, now you can screw that screw tight, as those two aren't going to move anymore, or hopefully aren't going to move anymore now. Okay, so left and right's done. Now we're going to put the cradle onto the stock. Okay, so again, generous dollop of glue onto those so that they line up with the flaps on the stock. And we just slot that in underneath, just like that. And if you just pinch, the flaps are folded around on either side, and again that should glue within a few seconds. Okay, so there you have it, this stock. Now, I told you before to keep an extra piece from the handle, so this piece you pushed out earlier. I'm just going to show you why and where to use that. So take that piece, take a pair of scissors, chop a little bit off the end, just beyond the kind of the grey piece of detail, and then cut just a little slither down each side. Just not a point, but just a little bit of a point on the end. So just cut that out, and what I do, just to give the stock a bit of extra strength, making sure again not to damage the iron sight, but just take that extra piece of card and just stick it down over those two pieces of stock detail. It just holds it together stronger and gives that stock a lot more rigidity. This is probably something we'll build into the standard die cut in future models, but just for now, I just think it provides extra strength to that stock piece. Just because that's where your kind of shoulder is, and it sometimes wears against those two pieces. So we've done stages 14, 15 and 16.